and welcome to the channel. I hope that you are all fit and able to enjoy your fishing. Now, over the last 18 months or so, I've said many things about the gasolina perdigón. The gasolina is world famous, but some tyres still appear to be confused by its makeup. So I'm just going to recap on some of my previous comments. I've spoken about its origins and how it's evolved to today's accepted tying. And if you're in any doubt, it is definitely originated in Spain. I've said that if you use Hen's 233 materials listed as colour brown, it is a gasolina perdigón and not to be called by another name like my special green reflective olive perdigón. It's a gasolina. Now, to the contrary, I've also said that varying companies make what they call gasolina material to replicate the original, which is fine. This is from fisherman, for example, and it's also listed as brown. Do not use peacock coloured materials and think that you're tying a gasolina. It will undoubtedly catch fish, but it's not a gasolina. The name comes from the effect of the gasoline on water, a myriad of iridescent colours, of which green is often the predominant colour. Colours of the rainbow in their various paler hues are in there as well. In Spain, the majority of tyers will tie their gasolinas on straight shank nymph hooks and use a slotted bead. As far as jig hooks or extended down eye hooks are concerned, I've not seen them used. The tail will almost exclusively be gallo de leon, or translated coq de leon, and likely to be medium pardo. A few tyres will add a black thorax cover, which I personally feel unnecessary. A collar with black tying thread is okay for me. Let's not start on natural nymphs swimming upside down or getting tossed around in the underwater currents. That's a whole different conversation. I would generally advise tyres to use Hen's 233 for their gasolinas. Now, it comes in various modes. This is a flat tinsel, and you have it as a pearl ribbing band, and that's a stretch ribbing band. You have it in pearl scudback, and you have it in crystal flash. So lots of different materials for you to tie your gasolina in. Now, some of you will have been made aware of this material. It's said to be the closest to the original material used in the gasolina. So I'm going to tie gasolina perdigón with this material and leave it up to you to decide. These are perdigón strips, and they are pearl flashback number 14 from David Archive. So let's get into the tying. In the vise I have a size 16 light nymph hook and a 2.8 copper bead, and I'm tying with black 10-0 thread. Now, clearly you can tie on whatever size hook that you want with whatever size bead that you want, but as I have previously said, the slotted bead is what we would normally use for tying our gasolinas. So right, I've now set the bead and I'll trim off the excess. Right, now for the tail, as I have said, medium pardo, coq de leon is the order of the day. So that's what I'm going to use. And I'm just going to pull off some fibres. Now, the amount of fibres that you use, some tyres will say 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. I don't think it needs to be excessive, but by the same token, I don't think trout actually count the amount of fibres in the tail. So I'm just going to tie that in. What you don't want though is for it to be too long. So I'm just going to pull that back just a little bit and bind it down to the rear of the hook shank. In fact, I still think that's a little bit too long, so I'm just going to pull that back a little further, like so, and bind it down again. And trim up the excess. Right, now I'm going to put in a little bit of shape to the body. Now I don't like my perdigons too thick, working upon the basis that the thinner they are, the quicker they'll go through the water column to where the fish are most likely to be. But I will build it up a little bit closer to the bead and back down to the rear. You can see a loose fibre there, which I will trim up. Right, now I'm just going to cut a piece of this material off. My experience of this material so far is that it is very fine and very delicate, and in my opinion is likely to break easily. So I will just tie it in and bind down. I don't think it's conducive to glue either. I don't think that helps its strength. So let's wind this on. Touching turns. Now you will see other colours appear, which is not unusual when the gasoline hits the water. I'm doing this very slowly because of its fragility. And tie it off. I think that will just snap off. There we go. Now I've already mentioned about the black collar, building up the collar instead of putting on what we consider to be the thorax cover. And one of the ways that you can do that is by just building it up against the side of the bead, against the slot. I'm going to put in some glue and slowly build it up. Put a little bit more glue on there, I think. And trim up the thread. Now, of course, you can tie it off with a whip finishing tool, which is fine. This is just another method. And now I'm going to put some UV varnish on it. Give that a zap. And give it another coat. And another zap. And there you have it finished. So let me just take this out of the vise and compare it with the others. Right, so this is the one that I've just tied. This is the fisherman colour, and this is the hens 233. Three distinctly different materials, but creating a very similar effect. As I said at the start, the decision is up to you within the bounds that I've already stated to create the gasolina. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it interesting and you got something out of it. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for viewing. Bye.